Hey friends, and welcome back to Sewing from Scratch. I am Kate, and this is where I teach you everything I know about sewing, and we learn more together along the way. Today's video is a little bit different. I have a pile of stuff here that needs refashioning, so let's just jump right in and get to it. So the first thing I'm going to show you is actually done already. I just did it yesterday because I had a wedding to wear it to, and it is my olive jumpsuit. So I have shared this before, and this is what it looked like before. So what I was finding with it was the straps were falling down, and I kept shortening them and I kept shortening them, and they were still just falling down even though they were like very small on my shoulder. Well, obviously the reason was that it was too wide in the back, that you could see that the straps were going out from the front to the back. So I did take in the center back. Now, instead of like unpicking this all and fixing, like redoing the waistband and everything, I actually just took it in like this from the center back seam up. I took quite a bit, probably an inch on each side, so 2 inches out of the center back, and that was about as much as I could take out and still get it over my hips comfortably. And it helped, but it still wasn't great. So then I tried to pin the straps further down the back where the triangle still was, and have them be in a little bit because I thought about altering it that way. And again, it worked, but it just wasn't great. So then I thought, well, what if I take the straps, and instead of having them come straight down on my shoulders, because also spaghetti straps aren't the best look on me because I have broader shoulders, what if I make it a halter top? And now I've always steered away from halter tops because of my broad shoulders, but it actually, I felt like it worked better. So if you are a fashion guru or if you know stuff about shapes and sizes, let me know if halter tops are better or worse than spaghetti straps on broad shoulders. So that's what I ended up doing. So what I did was I just finished off the ends of the straps by folding them under one time and stitching. This was a quick and dirty job because it was literally 2 hours before the wedding. And then for the back, obviously it would have still had the arm side and the portion that goes up for the strap. So I had folded it under and kind of got the feel of how I wanted it to look. And then I just top stitched it down and cut it off. And then, and obviously on both sides. And then I cut extra to be able to fold it under and stitch that. And I could have stitched it all down again, but again, I didn't really want that second row of stitching. So all I did was just tacked it down at the top and the bottom, and it worked out really well. I got some compliments on it. I wasn't feeling like I was going to fall out or the straps were gonna fall down. The only issue with halter top then is that like I was worried that the bow was gonna come undone and fall off because it didn't leave a lot of room to tie a bow. So I was concerned about that, but there were no malfunctions, no mishaps, no nip slips. So it did go quite well. But yeah, so now I can put my olive back in my closet. It's been hanging out just on my wall here for quite a while. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to take on taking it all in or what. In the future, I will probably have to size down. I know I'll have to size down probably 2 sizes from what I made. And I do have a video on this one, so I will link that below for you as well. Next up is this striped dress that you saw in my June makes video. So I think when I shared this, I talked about how I wasn't crazy about the cap dolman sleeve thing. I am going to now cut this off and make a proper sleeve on it. That's what the arm size drafted for, so it is a little bit lower, and I just don't love the cap sleeve. So we're gonna go through and see how to do that.
Alright, so we're gonna get into how I added these sleeves on, and unfortunately I lost a whole bunch of footage of me trying on and showing you all these things, like the before pictures, and I'm really upset about it. But anyway, we're gonna get into how I fix these sleeves. So the first thing I did was I put the dress on and I marked where I wanted the shoulder to be, where I wanted the edge of the bodice shoulder to be, where I wanted the seam to be for the sleeve. Then I went and unpicked the hem that I had done on the dolman sleeve. And once that was all done, then I wasn't really sure how to go about this, but I ended up kind of using my curved ruler, but mostly just freehanding from the pin down to the underarm. I definitely did not want to make that underarm any bigger, so I was making sure that I was lined up with that original seam edge. So I snipped that off, and then I used that cutoff piece to mirror the other side so that I was getting a symmetrical cut off alteration. Then what I did was I measured around that arm side, and I used a pattern piece that I already had to kind of draft a new pattern piece. So it ended up being quite a bit wider because obviously this is a large hole because it was a dolman sleeve. And I'm just using the original dress here now to pattern match or stripe match for the sleeve. And I mean, it turned out okay. I am happier with it than I was with the original, so that's a bonus. It's still not perfect. Like, obviously for a sleeve, it's just a little bit too big, too long, and it doesn't, you know, lay perfectly nice. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I wear this dress all the time because it is super comfy.
And next I have this shawl that you would have seen in my closet clean out colors video. I believe it's just a rectangle of fabric, which you'll know how to make a shawl after this video too. It's just a rectangle of fabric, and then what they did here is they just cut a slit straight up and then just folded it in and cover stitched it. So all I have to do, I think is rip out the cover stitching, which is easy, and then I should be able to stitch it back together and make a throw blanket out of it. If that doesn't work, I will make it into pillows, but I have high hopes for the throw blanket.
Alright, so this ended up being super easy. All I did was rip out this stitching. It actually was serged and then hemmed, like folded and top stitched. I thought it was cover stitched, but it was not. So it was challenging to rip out, but I did it. Ripped it all out, including the tag, and then all I did was butt them up together and do a zigzag stitch down the center, making sure I was catching both sides, so kind of like a darning stitch type thing. And that was it. That was it, and this turned out so great. I have put it on my porch swing, as you can see, and it is here to stay. I love cozying up in this. I love that I can use it now. It can remind me of my aunt because that's who gave it to me, and it's just a wonderful little addition to our beautiful front porch.
And then the last transformation I have is this swimsuit. Now this I made last year, and I can't remember, I do have a video on it, but I can't remember if it was from the Bahari swimsuit or if I totally self-drafted this one. It fits great in like the bottom, and that's about it. So the problem with it is that it's just too short in the torso, and I could obviously chop the shoulder seam and then add some in there, but I still just don't think it would be great. So my plan is to cut it in half and make a bottom and a top, kind of tankini style. However, there is a bit of a problem. So the back is a low back. So I'm hoping there's enough there to cut and still have room for elastic on the top portion and still have a fairly mid to high rise bottoms, because I don't wear low rise bottoms currently. So we will see how that turns out.
Okay, so once again, I am so sorry. I am so upset. I lost this footage. I honestly don't know what happened. But these are the before pictures that I have of this swimsuit from last year. And then I cut it in half. So all I did was put it on and then actually I don't even think I put it on. I just made a mark at the back where I knew I had to leave enough room for adding elastic and still cover my butt crack, and then I cut it in half. Well, I guess not half, but I cut it. I sliced it across, and then I put it on. So I'm going to show you that now, what I have to say about that.
Hey friends, so I'm very, very uncomfortable right now. So This is for you. I just want to show you like the difference here after I cut it. Like I have not chopped anything off. This is just from slicing it apart. So yeah, there's a lot I will have to add to this pattern to make it like an actual one piece for me. So as it sits, I don't love where it's hitting me. This is kind of my self-conscious area, so I think I'd be happier with a band, making it more like showing off my waist. So I have added elastic to this. It's not really, it's like basically a 1-to-1 ratio. So I think what I'm going to do is take this off, it's just basted on, and then add a band. Like I have more of this fabric, so I'll add a band and then put elastic in that, and then make this can be more cropped, or it can be like as it is kind of thing, just because yeah, that's like more part that I would rather show off. And then as for the back, so trying to get my head out of the way. As for the back, it's okay. It hits me nice there. Not too worried about that. Obviously when I add the band, it's gonna go up quite a bit, unless I figure out a way to like contour it just to be more in the front, because this was being held down by the bottom before and it would go like way down. Now the straps are kind of loose and falling off. So I don't know if like adding elastic to the bottom of this is going to help or not. We will see. I'm going to try that. I thought about just hemming it, but I don't think that's going to be enough. I need to do something to like keep it in. Otherwise, yeah, I might have to do like a crisscross thing. This is really weird. Crisscross across my back. I probably didn't even need to show you that. But yeah, so that's the back, and then the front. So yeah, I think I'm gonna add elastic here, and I just have to be careful that I have enough in the back since it's so thin. So then that'll be kind of like that, and then I'll bring this up a little bit, I think.
Okay, so what I ended up doing was cutting out a band for the front and back. I did 5 inches and I measured it to the exact width of the bottoms. We're going to talk about more about this later, but this worked out okay for now. So I didn't have the elastic. I took the elastic off the band that I had showed you, and then I sewed this up and attached it. So I did just baste this on because I wasn't sure if I wanted to add elastic in it or if I'd need to take it in or make it shorter, yada yada yada. As it turns out, I do need to change it. This is not a final product, so I'm glad that I just basted this on with a zigzag stitch, and then I did test it out. For the top, all I did was actually turn it under and cover stitch it. I will need to make some alterations to that as well, but let me show you how this turned out first, and then I'll talk you through kind of what I think I'm gonna do next. Alright, so this is where we're at. I have worn this in the lake. I wore it one time to kind of test it out. It does fall down a bit. So the bottoms, I think I'm going to lower them by an inch, like cut an inch off of the band, and then add elastic into the top part of them. And I think they should be good. I'm pretty happy with that. You will notice some gaping at the back because I don't know if I need a sway back adjustment or a contoured waistband or what, but I'm hoping the elastic just takes care of that and I don't really want to worry about it. The top, I did add elastic to that bottom around there, just regular 1/4 inch elastic. So it does help with the top part, like with the arm loops from falling down so much, but they still do kind of fall down, and the front kind of flaps a little bit. Like honestly, nobody would notice, but I think I might try adding just a bit of tighter elastic around that scoop back just to kind of pull things in more. Obviously, ideally, it would be better if it was like not so wide on my shoulders, but I am trying to just work with what I have here. So I think that's what I'm going to try next. And hopefully that works out. I do think it turned out pretty cute. I don't know. You can let me know what you think down in the comments below.
And then the last 2 things are just things that are kind of in my mending type pile that need some things done. So again, you would have seen this Manhattan dress from my, January makes, I believe it was. And in my closet clean out, I think I talked about it too. The only problem with this is that I didn't use color match serger thread. I used white, I believe, or pink even. So the waist seam, you can see little white dots, and I don't know if anyone notices it, but for me, I want it fixed. So I'm just gonna run a line of stitching with red thread around the waist seam, and that'll be fixed. Oh, I guess the center back I should do too, because it's coming apart a bit there too.
All right, so here is the finished product. Like I said, I just went over the seams with some red thread to make sure that any gapping wouldn't show.
And then lastly are my refashion Levi's. I do have a full video on this. Again, I will link that below. But when I made it and at the reveal, you guys saw I never did add in the last belt loop or put the patch back on. So I want to do those two things. I'll probably end up moving the patch over here, I think. And then this red tag has been cut off and I have replacement ones, so I will stitch a new one back in there. And then these will be good to wear again. I mean, I've been wearing them, but good to, they'll be totally done.
Okay, and here they are. I also did a skirt and a shirt, but lost the footage, so the end.
So thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video and for watching it in the first place. It really means a lot to me. If you leave me a comment down below, I love reading them and I always try to respond as if I can. So the option is there for you to connect with me as well. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it and want to see more like this. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can catch the next video. I'll see you there. Bye!